Good morning, friends. How are you today? Today is Tuesday, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the small rice stitch and the large rice stitch on band 9 of Esthers Wave. So stay tuned. So this is band 9 of Esthers Wave, and the stitches that are involved are the small rice stitch, which is the one with the beads, and the large rice stitch, which is this one right here. So as you can see, it's quite complicated. It's quite busy. Step number one is when you do start to do it and you have your pattern, every time you do a stitch, like this is a small rice stitch with a bead, that's the large rice stitch, that's a bead by itself. Every time you do one of these, cross it off on your pattern so that you know where you are, because when it gets to places like, especially like around here, when you're connecting the two, it can get quite confusing. And if you're not crossing off every little thing that you're doing as you're doing it, then you'll be like, okay, now which one am I doing? Especially at the beginning when you're first starting it, like once you get over here and you kind of get into the groove of things, then you kind of like, yeah, okay, I know that, you know, the large rice stitches kind of make a diamond with one in the middle, and then the small rice stitches are like that, and then the rest is surrounded by small rice stitches with beads. So you kind of get into the groove of it, but it is highly recommended, or I at least highly recommend, that you cross off each stitch as you do it on your pattern. So I'm going to thread up and I'm going to show you how to do those stitches in this remaining square here that I have left to do. Okay, so my needle is in place for the small rice stitch, and like I said before, the small rice stitch is the one that we do with the bead. So I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed because I'm holding my camera. So you pull that and you make a large X over 4. So we're going to count 4 diagonally. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you know that you're in the right spot because these small rice stitches are 1 over and 1 down compared to these large rice stitches. Once you get these large rice stitches down, then there's really no need to count, because you know you have to go 1 over and 1 down, and then you know that that's where you're supposed to be. And then that's your 1 X, one angle of the X, and then you go over here and you do your other X, your other side of the X. Now you're going to add your bead to the center. So you're going to go, even though this is covering, the thread is covering it, you're going to go 1 diagonal from where you came up the first time. And then you're going to add your bead. So I'm just going to add my bead. Okay, and then you go 1 diagonal down. You're basically making just a regular X width to put in your bead. You just kind of have to work around the X that's already there. So you kind of have to move the thread around to get to the hole. So you just put your bead in place. And my beads are going straight up and down. It's typically how I place all of my beads. There, so now your bead's attached. So now you have to do the, I guess, the rice part. I don't know what you call it. You're going to put the bead in a box. So you come up in the center of this one. So 2 this way, 2 that way, which makes it the center. You're going to go down over here on this left side. And then you're going to come up in the center of this X over here. And you're going to go down at the bottom here in the center. And then you're going to go up in the center on the top. And you're going to go down in the center on the right. And then you're going to come across in the center on the left. And you're going to go down in the center on the top. And that there is your rice stitch with a bead. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to do the large rice stitch, which will go right in here, in this spot right here. Oh, okay, so we know that we have this one done, and we have this one done, and we have this one done. And there's one that's going to go over here, but this is going to be the center one. That is like right here, right? So how you know where you start is you know that this is the corner of this small rice stitch, right? So you go over one and up one. And that's where you know that your corner large rice stitch will be. So you come up and then you go down so that it touches this large rice stitch right here in the same hole as that corner, which these rice stitches are over 6. So if you don't have any rice stitches done, then you know that you have to count 6 diagonally. And then you're just making a great big X and making all of these large rice stitches connect. Okay, now we're going to do a plus sign in the center. So we're going to go in the center of this X, but we're going to go up one. So it's not on that same line as the X, it's one up, if that makes sense. You can just see from what I'm doing here. I'm not a good explainer of things. And then you go down, one down from the center. And then you go to the same, you go to the center, same line, except you're going to want to go over one. And then you want to go down, you find the center, you go in one, and then there's your plus sign. There's your plus sign. So now we're going to start doing these kind of like windmill-y rice stitches around it. So there is a way that you're supposed to do it to make it, there is a way that it's diagrammed to do it correctly. So you start at this, on this one here in the center. And the best way that I know how to explain it so that you don't get confused as to which hole you go in, because you can do it a lot of different ways and get the same outcome with these, but your back will look different. And I'm going to flip this over and show you the back, but I'm going to do this first. So you go in the center here, up in the center, and then you go in the center over here. Now just think, where is your thread going to travel on the back of your work? You want it to travel straight across. So here's your down one, right? You're going to go straight across and you're going to come up over here so that the back of your work, there'll be a straight line. Okay? And then you're going to come down here. So in order to get that straight line again, where are you going to come up? You're going to come up over here. Right? So the back of your work has a straight line going up and down. And you make sure you pull, and you don't pull so hard that it's pulling the holes apart. but you're pulling hard enough that, you know, you're getting good tension with the thread. Okay, so we came down here. So now we want to go straight across to over here. And then come up. So there is your first leg, and now we're going to do the exact same thing another 2 times. So we're going to go back over here, except we're going to go in the next hole over. And then the next hole down here. And you're going to go straight across on the back. Come up over here. The next hole down. And then this hole right here, which is the next hole over. You're going to go straight up. Your thread will be straight up on the back. Straight across on the back. You're going to come across on the back. And now we're going to do it one more time with the very little itty bitty one. So the final one, which is the next hole over. Straight across. Then you're going to go up again to over here. Sorry that I just bumped. And then over to here, which would be your final leg for this stitch. And there is your large rice stitch complete. So now I'm going to flip the piece over and I'm going to show you the back so that you understand what I was talking about with going straight across on your backs. So this is the back of our work, and you can see that this is where our last leg came down. So as you can see, in doing it that way, you're making the back look like that, straight across, like that. So that's the back of the work and what it should look like if you do it according to the diagram. So I hope that that helped you guys. I know that these stitches are not going to be much help to those of you who are not doing Esthers Wave. But for those of you who are doing Esthers Wave, I hope that they help you, and I hope that they let you know they're not as scary as they look, even though they do look quite complicated. And they are a pain in the ass. Doing them a couple hundred times. It's okay. It takes time, it takes patience, but that's okay. They can all be done by anybody who has the desire to do them. So I'm going to let you guys go for it now. I'm going to continue on with my band. I want to get it done by the end of the month, so I got to get cracking. And I will see you guys next time.